This is Charlie Parsons for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on DAZN. I've got the big dog with me, Big Joe Egan. How are you, bro?
I'm good, Charlie. How you doing, pal?
All good, mate. All good. Thank you for giving us some of your time. Been
Pleasure.
a crazy week, really, in the boxing world. I suppose let's take it back to Friday night. We saw Mike Tyson at 58 years of age get in the ring with a man 31 years his senior, his junior in Jake Paul. Before we talk about the fight itself, what did you make of it sort of approaching fight night?
I let my heart rule my head, Charlie. I thought we were going to see the warrior of old, Mike Tyson, but instead we saw the old warrior. But the thing is, Jake Paul boxed very well. We can't take anything away from that young man. I know he was boxing a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, but Jake boxed very well. For a man that's only been boxing 4 years, I give him credit. He boxed extremely well. And I also give him the credit for having the courage because you're born with courage. That's something you cannot give somebody. You cannot teach somebody courage. You can teach them the skills to fight, but if they haven't got the courage to fight, they go and play games like football or golf or tennis or basketball. You don't play fighting, whether it be Muay Thai, kickboxing, karate, jiu-jitsu, boxing, any form of fighting, full contact fighting, you've got to have courage. And like I say, Charlie, that's something you're born with. And Jake Paul was born with courage. He's bringing in a whole new audience to boxing. Whether you like them or whether you don't like them, I think it's good for the sport because when you've got 200 million YouTube fans watching Jake Paul box, if 1% of them 200 million YouTube fans suddenly decide that they like boxing, then amateur boxing gains 2 million new fans, professional boxing gains 2 million new fans, white collar boxing gains 2 million fans. So that can't be bad for the sport. And the way Jake Paul boxed, I was impressed with him for like a 4 year novice, albeit a 58-year-old, tired looking Mike Tyson.
Uh, Obviously, in the build-up, they decided to make it 2-minute rounds. 8 rounds. It was a professional fight for Mike Tyson. If you open up BoxRec, you'll see that fight there listed 20 years after all of the other ones. Um, what did you make of that side of it? Should it have been a professional fight? Was that not maybe taking it a step too far?
Not really, no. Jake's had professional fights already. Mike's legacy, Mike's achievements in boxing, youngest ever heavyweight champion of the world. He didn't want to get in there with kid gloves. He still has the heart of a warrior. He will always have that heart. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to deliver the Mike Tyson of old on the nights. I, like I said, let my heart rule my head. When I spoke to Carl Froch told me exactly how it was going to go. But I tried to convince Carl Froch. Whether I did, I don't know. I tried to convince Carl Froch, trying to tell a great champion like Carl Froch what I thought of the fight, how I thought it was going to go. Carl started to think, well, maybe Joe could be right. Like I said earlier, Charlie, I let my heart rule my head. I really thought that Mike could turn back the hands of time.
I think he
Like
still
we all do. We
a
all
lot of
think we can
people got
beat
to learn
Father
from it,
Time.
right?
We all think we can beat Father Time. Eventually, he catches up with us. We can slow him down with good living. Unfortunately, Mike hasn't lived the healthiest of lives with his drinking and his drug abuse. But he still looked a fine looking 58-year-old man. And like you say, he was in with a man 31 years his junior. And a man that could box. Take nothing away from Jake Paul. Jake Paul boxed extremely well. He moved, he had lateral movement, he had a nice jab. He done all the things that boxing is. Boxing is the art of self-defense. And he used his speed and his youth to stay well clear of any destructive punch from Mike Tyson.
I suppose moving forward for Jake Paul, everyone and their nan seems to be calling him out now. He seems to have got the boxing world by the balls a little bit. Even Artur Beterbiev calling him out, which is certainly an interesting one. I mean, what do you make of it now? Does he have to get in there and fight better opposition? Can he just keep this sort of business machine running and keep generating millions fighting against people who we probably know maybe won't challenge him? I mean, what's your take on it?
I think he could test himself against anybody. It's a contact sport. He's got ability. I think he could test himself against anybody, and I think he will want to test himself against anybody. If he can walk into the ring and face, albeit a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, Mike still had that reputation as a wrecking machine. So nothing is really going to scare Jake into not wanting to climb into the ring with him. He's got plenty of courage, so I think he will. Whether how far he can go in the sport, that's another story. But I hope he enjoys the journey in boxing because he is bringing, like I said, a whole new audience to the sport. His father messaged me, Greg messaged me, and said to me to get over, but I was too busy. I've been on a big gangster film, Semolina Pilchards. I've been filming in Manchester and Liverpool, and I was too busy to get over. Friends of mine went over and had the amazing hospitality from Mike's team, and I'm sorry that I couldn't make it. But it was a spectacle. It was a glamour event. The tickets were like gold dust. So if that's what Jake brings to the table for boxing, it's good. And I hope that he stays in the sport. I hope that he achieves what he wants to achieve in boxing. Every fighter dreams about becoming a champion of the world when you step foot into that ring, right? From the first fight as an amateur boxer, every fighter dreams the dream. I dreamed the dream. I wasn't anywhere near good enough to become a champion of the world. I fought lots of world champions, and it was an honor and a privilege to share the ring with them. Listen, if you're going to get battered, you got to get battered by the best. I got battered by the best of my era. But every fighter dreams the dream. Jake Paul is dreaming that same dream that Mike Tyson dreamed. Mike Tyson went on to achieve the dream. He went on to be a few times heavyweight champion of the world. He got to live the dream on a few occasions. Jake Paul's dreaming the dream. Whether he's good enough, who knows? Boxing's a strange sport. That young man's only been at it 4 years. And for a man that's been boxing 4 years, he showed a lot of skills. His left hooks were good. His left jab was good. His right uppercut was good. So he's got the fundamentals of boxing, and he's doing them very well.
Just
His
lastly,
fitness is supreme. He's a very, very fit young man. He was up at heavyweight, and he didn't look slovenly. He didn't look like he looked good. He looked natural at heavyweight.
Just lastly from me, I suppose on this topic, it's come out that Mike Tyson nearly died in the build-up when they had the postponement. I think maybe that's where people say there is a little stain in it happening. Obviously, going into the fight, there was so much talk. Well, we don't want to see a young man knock Mike Tyson out. Now, I had a feeling that Jake probably wouldn't, and he sort of would box how he did towards the later rounds, which was just flicking the jab out and boxing off the back of that. We knew that was one of the reasons why they had 14-ounce gloves, but with the health scares and everything going into consideration, I mean, how does that make you feel?
Mike, I believe, had a burst ulcer. He was on a flight and he burst an ulcer. When you've abused your body over the years with drink and drugs, it's only natural that your internal organs have been damaged. So we don't know how severe the burst ulcer was. It's obviously a serious enough um, injury or whatever illness to postpone the fight. But blessings of God, Mike survived that. He got himself fit. He got himself fit, and that has to be good for his health. He needed a challenge. He needed something to get out of bed in the morning to go running for. He needed something to get himself up to the gym to punch a bag for, to skip rope for, to lift weights for. Sometimes when you've done it for your career and you've done it for your livelihood, when you retire, it's very difficult to drag yourself out of bed in the morning, to go to the gym in the afternoon or the evening, when you haven't got something other than your health to focus on. Mike's got a lot of distractions with his family, with his businesses. So he needed something. He needed that challenge to get himself healthy again. Because if you look at the Mike Tyson before the fight was announced with Jake, he was a lot heavier. He was a little bit slovenly. He was still the powerful presence of Mike Tyson because that stature that he has, that demeanor that he has, it's Mike Tyson. But he was a little bit heavier, maybe a few stone heavier than when he boxed Jake. So he's got himself fit. I hope he stays fit. I hope he stays off the weed. I hope he stays off anything that's bad for his health. And I hope he keeps in the healthy zone.
Just a,
Because we want them around for a long time. Me and Mike are similar ages. I'm several months older than Mike, and I don't drink or take drugs, but I've seen what drinking drugs does to a person. and I saw what it done to Mike. We've been friends 42 years.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I suppose just moving on to yourself then, I know that you've always entertained the idea of getting back in the ring. Whenever you've done that, you've always sort of been of the understanding that it should probably be someone in and around your age group. You're not calling out anyone 30
I'm
years.
not calling out anybody. I'm only responding to John Fury's call outs. I was happy in retirement, very happy in retirement, Charlie. I achieved what I was able to achieve, winning my Irish boxing titles. That was an incredible achievement for me. I hadn't got much skill. I was just like all fighters. We're all tough. Every person, male or female, that climbs into that ring or the cage or the mat is tough. And I had a toughness. I hadn't got much skill. And to win several Irish titles was a major achievement for me. When I retired at 38, I got a bad cut in sparring. I'd made a comeback after 12 years. I'd been out of the ring, like I say, 12 years. I needed the money and I made a comeback. And I won in the fifth round. And I was going to fight again. And I got hit with an uppercut in sparring. One of my best friends, Steve Dawson, who I'd sparred with many, many times over the years, caught me an uppercut, headgear on, big gloves, and he ripped my eye wide open. And I knew then at 38 it was over, you know. So I retired. Then at 58, I broke into the acting. I'm doing well in the acting. I'm getting some good parts. I'm getting the parts that suit me. I'm playing the tough guy. I played a gangster. I played a hard man. And it's. I've had to live the life of a tough guy. I've had to live the life of a hard man, standing on the doors of nightclubs, working my security work, and boxing. So I've had to live that life. So to portray that actor on screen is quite easy. Not any good of an actor. I just portrayed a tough guy very well. Anyway, John Fury went to a premiere of a movie that I did with Russell Crowe and Ray Winston. Matt Pearce, the producer of the film, his father, Dave Pearce, was the ex-British heavyweight champion. So Matt said, Tyson Fury's in Cannes. They were over there for the premiere of Maverick. And he said there's only possibility he could get Tyson and his team to come to the premiere of Prize Fighter, premiered before Maverick. So I was able to arrange that. Dave Pearce, like I said, the former British heavyweight champion, Matt's father is dead now, God rest him. Tyson showed the utmost respect, as all fighters do. That's what boxing does. Boxing, first and foremost, gives you self-respect, and then it gives you respect for your opponent and other people involved in the sport. So Tyson went to the premiere. John was there. Russell Crowe spoke to him, said, there's another boxer in the film called Joe Egan. Do you know Joe? Now, I thought John was my friend. We were on the circuit together. Neither of us were any good. We were just tough. So instead of John saying, yeah, Joe's my friend, nice guy, he went, Joe's a fraud. Joe's a fake hard man. I've never claimed to be a hard man, Charlie. I've took beatings off hard men, and they've said Joe Egan is a hard man. And that's a lovely compliment. Because, like I said, if you're going to get battered, you might get battered by the best. I got battered by the best of my era. Mike Tyson battered me, and Lennox Lewis battered me. So when John Fury said that, I was so disgusted. I got told in front of Ray Winston, in front of Russell Crowe, in front of Matt Pearce. And when I was told, I was fuming. I thought, how could he do that? How could he try to belittle me? But he steers the thunders of his sons, Tyson and Tommy. So why is he going to let me have any thunder? He's a glory hunter. So then he's on the stage saying, I'm the hardest 58-year-old man on the planet. No, you're not, John Fury, and neither am I. So I've reason to step up to the mark. So I stepped up to the mark, Charlie. And I said, John, you've insulted me. You want to fight? Let's fight. You talk the talk. You're the hardest 58-year-old man on the planet. No, you're not, and neither am I, but I know I'm harder than you. So let's fight, John. Suddenly, the social media has gone crazy because he's a hated man. I've never seen anybody so hated in my life. Everywhere I go, people, they despise the man. And then the conduct of him in Saudi when he headbutted that young Ukrainian, that sealed the deal of hatred, you know. And I'd done a little video, I was laughing. I said, John, you're the most hated man on the planet. And if there's life out there on other planets, which I believe there is, I said, I think even the extraterrestrials hate you as well, you know. And I just laughed. But the thing is, it's personal. Misfits, Mams has tried to make the fight. And I don't understand for the amount of money that they're talking. I know John Fury's a wealthy man, but it's still nice to get another bit of wealth. And if he really thought he could beat me, Charlie, he'd have took the fight. That's the sad thing about it. He knows that I've got the beatings of him. Like I said, neither of us are any good. It's 20 years since I've been in a boxing ring. It's 20 years since I've cycled a bike on the streets. But I know I could go out and cycle a bike around the streets. I'm not going to win Tour de France, but I know I could cycle a bike. Too old to dance around the ring. We're both 58. Well, I'm 59 now. I was 59 there last week. We're both older men. We're not going to dance around the ring. We're going to stand in front of each other and we're going to punch each other. Now, my chin's been hit by 4 heavyweight champions of the world, and I wasn't knocked out. John Fury was hit by 1 heavyweight champion of the world, and he was knocked out. So I do believe my chin is better than his chin. And that's what it's going to boil down to. With chin, whose chin can withstand the most punches? And I think mine can withstand it. I hope mine can withstand his. I really do hope. But I'm still fingers crossed. I'm still fingers crossed that Misfits can make the fight. There's a press conference today, and I was going down to the press conference. Misfits had invited me down to the press conference. John Fury has insisted that he didn't want me anywhere near the top table, which is sad. I wasn't going to steal the show. He tries to steal the show, and he's probably worried that I would upstage him. And he said that if I was to attend, that he would just walk out with his son. I wouldn't disrespect Tommy Fury, same as I wouldn't disrespect Tyson Fury. My grievance isn't with either of them. My grievance is with that dad. And Tyson has said to him, step forward. His other boy Shane has said, step forward. He comes from travelling stock. He's a fighting man. My mum's people are travelling people. I'm a fighting man. So let's give the public what they want to see. Let's give them the fight. And I believe, for however long it lasts, whoever gives in, me or him, it'll be a good fight while it lasts. I don't think I'll give in.
Joe, thank you very much, mate. You're a legend. You mentioned the press conference. I've got to get over to just that this afternoon. I'm sure we'll see Carnage unveil, and we'll speak to Mams. We'll find out what's really going on and if we can ever see this fight. If I said to you, gut feeling, on the last note of the interview, gut feeling, will you ever get back in the squared circle again? Whether it be Misfits, something like that. What would you say?
Well, Misfits are talking now because John Fury doesn't want to take the fight. Maybe a celebrity. I would like to get back in. I would like to get back in. But like I said, I don't want to be getting in. I don't want to be a punch bag for a man half my age.
Okay, yeah.
I'm too proud for that. I want to get in and I'd want to have, like we all ask for in life, a fighting chance. That's what I'd want. I want to get in with somebody that I'd have a fighting chance against. And if Misfits can make the fight with somebody that I'd have a fighting chance against, I will take the fight. I know I've got a fighting chance against John Fury. In my heart of hearts, I believe I can beat John Fury. But anybody else, let's see who they bring forward.